Welcome back, friends, to Divine Feminine Radio, your weekly sanctuary for feminine wisdom in a masculine world. I'm your host, Ronnie Calla, here today with the beautiful Tamara Rose. If this is your first time joining us, Tamara has been deconstructing the patriarchy and activating the divine feminine for over 15 years. She's the founder of the Beyond Human Method, as well as my sister. There has been a lot of energy stirring up this week. We had the solar eclipse and the solar flare on September 21st. We had the new moon on September 21st as well. We had Rosh Hashanah on the 22nd yesterday, and today, the 23rd, is apparently the Rapture. So I figured we would open up and talk about all the energies that have been stirring up this week. Tamara, what do you sense?
I think we should talk about all the energies that have been stirring up this week.
This sounds like a good idea, right?
Seems appropriate. There seems to be a lot. And I also have I kind of have an energetic tune in, maybe a little theory, like how it all kind of goes together. My own perspective, of course.
I'd love to hear it. And I feel like it's not just this week, but really the last 2 to 3 weeks, especially in the United States. We've had Charlie Kirk. We've had school shootings and around the Denver area. We talked about that a bit last week. But especially love to hear your expertise and your opinion, because you are somebody who's been studying energetics for the last 15 years. We're not experts in astrology or historians by any means, but if there was a PhD for energetics, I believe Tamara would have one, just given the hours and time and money that you've invested in studying such things.
We could call it an obsession. That seems accurate and real life applied to myself and to other people, hence the business I run. So let's dive into the energetics. Do you want to come out the gate with any questions, or should I just dive into my sense?
Well, what do you sense is happening energetically?
Yeah.
We'll just start there.
Well, here's the... Wow. I want to unpack a can of worms called timelines and timeline shifting and quantum physics and quantum mechanics. Like, why not?
Well, we did an episode on timeline shifting. We can talk about that. If you're not familiar, you can go watch some of that.
Let's tag it below like the other one, so if people are into it. So to start the conversation, I think the foundation that people need to understand, or what's helpful to understand, is the premise that we have in our company and as we coach people, which is you're always creating your reality. You're the creator of the reality, your observation of the reality, your thoughts about the reality, your feelings about the reality, the actions you take consistent with those thoughts and feelings in the reality, your belief systems, your ability to trust or not trust, to what are you aligned in, your experiences, all of those things are the creation of the reality. So hence you could have two people experience a car accident. They would have totally different experiences. They would talk about it differently, interact with it differently, have different kinds of healing and trauma that needed to happen, or some with no healing and trauma needing to happen, right? So that is, in essence, a way to test for everybody's creating their reality. Also, you could say, if you have a bad day, you start going down the bad day rabbit hole. You wake up in a good mood, maybe with the lover of your choice, a little coffee action. You're on the path to an amazing day. So those also set into motion how things go. And we're all here experiencing this 3D reality together. And we all incarnated at this time for a massive change, a massive upheaval, right? And so we are now we've talked about this on past episodes too, entering into the age of Aquarius. Pluto just entered Aquarius. So this is the time where the upheaval really starts to take charge. But Aquarius is specific for collective, honoring the collective, having your thoughts on the collective. What is the collective dealing with? How do we serve the collective? So it's all collective consciousness conversations, which is different than where we were last year, the year before. So, and now we're going to be in Aquarius for quite some time here. So we have a stronghold and a focus on collective energy. And so every time we have different transits, different new moons, different eclipses, different things that are happening, every time there's something going on, it's like unpacking where we are in a collective. Now, it's interesting because how many times do we hear somebody say, we see somebody comment like, I went out of this timeline, this can't be the best timeline, like I would never choose Trump. Like the comments are such that people are just so resistant to where we are, right? And I just
Or we're on the worst timeline.
or that we're on the worst timeline, right? And so to understand timelines, you would have to understand frequencies. Like we're in a particular frequency, experience a particular thing with our own thoughts, feelings, and actions and belief systems that are giving us this reality. In a collective, yeah, go ahead.
And just to like clarify, it sounds like there are individual belief systems, individual thoughts, feelings, and actions that we have, as well as collective belief systems, collective thoughts, feelings, and actions. And so the fact that we are aligned in this timeline means that our core belief, our thoughts, feelings, and actions, whether they're conscious or unconscious, must align with what we're seeing in the collective. Would you say that's accurate?
100%. That is completely accurate. So you can't you can't be in this timeline and also be like, I'm not supposed to be here, because in fact you are in the timeline. So you are here for a reason, right? If you're like, I'm not supposed to have incarnated, you're like, but you're here. So yeah. Or this isn't supposed to happen to me, whatever the this is. But it is, so it is supposed to. Our job is like those judgments of like, I'm not supposed to, or this isn't supposed to, or this is right and that's wrong. Like those actually put a cap on our capacity to fully see and fully embrace what's happening and why we're here. So it's my sense and it's my feeling like we just kind of had this like upheaval, this confluence, like this emergence of a lot of energy within the last like week, right? And what we really incarnated for right now especially is the demise, dissolving, destruction of all the systems that don't work for the collective, right? Because we're going into like the collective spheres. We're having our attention and focus more on that. So what doesn't work for the collective, and we have to clear all of the collective negativity that doesn't serve the collective. So that's a really important place to look for all of our listeners. We have to clear everything that doesn't serve for the collective. We incarnated at this time for part of this process. We incarnated to watch it. We incarnated to be part of it. We incarnated to be active in it, potentially. So you have to like, you know, have a come to Jesus, meditate, go inward, see why you incarnated at this time for yourself, find your North Star, and then get on board. Because that's what it's asking us to do, right? So how many of the listeners are like, I didn't vote for Trump the first go round. I don't want Trump the second go round. We're getting it because the collective didn't deal with our caca. If we dealt with our caca as a collective, we wouldn't have gotten Trump the second go round. So what are we learning on the second go round? We're learning the corruption. We're learning how the Epstein files really aren't just about Trump or Bill Clinton. Let's be real. It's a collective network worldwide that has infiltrated literally all the government systems. Did we know that last year? No. Now we know that. Okay. Like how much has Russia had their hand in our politics? More than we knew. Did we know that last year? No. Now we know. So how many corrupt systems have been having a hand in our democracy where we think we're free and we think we're democratic and we think we're in charge as a collective people, but what's come to light is we really aren't. And so what people don't like is seeing how much we have been fooled, the tomfoolery. Go ahead.
And one thing I am looking at now as we're unpacking like everything coming to the surface. So like let's say Trump was elected first in 2016 and there was a lot of like disappointment from people who didn't vote for him. Obviously, he didn't win the popular election, but he won in the electoral. Thank you. That's the one I'm looking for. And it seemed like maybe an energy of, well, it's only 4 years, or well, it's not going to happen again, or like, well, like we just have to deal with it right now.
Yeah.
And then 2020 came, COVID happened, and there was a mass stay at home, calm down, wind down, like do nothing energy
Go inward,
about that.
motherfuckers.
Go going inward.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could have been a time for us to like see, there was like nature healing where because people were at home, not spending, not going out and being active, or like less light pollution happening, there was like a level of nature healing in that too.
Yeah.
But after a few months, it was like, okay, back to work. Okay, let's get back to it. Chop, chop.
Yep.
And it was like that time period didn't actually do anything. It was just kind of like, okay, cool, now let's get back to the grind and we're just gonna get back to normal. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so it seems like there were these periods of time that could have been like notice something, go inward, change something, but maybe stepping over, or just get back to normal, or just get back to the grind. Like maybe not for every single person listening, maybe not for every single person, but like a collective energy about that. Does that track?
100%. So it's the collective energy trying to wake up, the like mother nature, the collective higher, you could say higher vibrational frequencies, like angels, teachers, spirit guides. Like you go, oh no, COVID. But you had a collective of people who were like, I don't want to go to work, over and over and over and over and over again. And then we had like a collective shutdown. And so they were real happy for the first few weeks. But what they weren't happy with is their own thoughts, their partners that they had chosen, the house that they were locked in. This, like all of the unconsciousness that's been plaguing us, they weren't happy with that. That was the dissatisfaction. But it wasn't necessarily like just being at home, because that's what everybody had asked for. And then after a while, now I want to get back to work and I want to get back to quote unquote normal. I would question y'all's quote unquote normals. Do you know what I mean? Like, what does it mean for normal? Normal is a state of unconsciousness that humanity has been running around with. Now, I actually take that back. It's not all of humanity. It's most of the United States. Let's just be real. Like, I just saw statistics on the United States consumption rate. China is at like 7 trillion, I think. India, I think, was at like 1 to 3 trillion. I forget all the exact numbers. The United States is at $18 trillion, which means we outconsume like we're the number one consumers. We outconsume the next, I think it was like 6 or 7 countries in a row.
Oh
China, Indian, like
all together, like if you combine them,
you have to add all of them. And so that consumption also points to our unconsciousness, right? And so we've just, like you're pointing to, we've had a collective opportunity to go inward, to calm this normal down, to change our normal, to be more conscious in our quote unquote normal, or more aware in our thoughts and our feelings and our actions, and we're just not taking it. And so, we also, this week we also had Jimmy Kimmel get fired and then get rehired. And then Sinclair to tell ABC Jimmy Kimmel's not coming back on. So he got rehired, and then Sinclair is now still saying, no dice, we're replacing it on ABC. So who the fuck knows at this point? Do you know what I mean? Like, and so it's just all the powers that be trying to pull the strings and trying to grasp at it. When the United States of American people wake up and you realize, oh, I actually have a say in how this goes. I have a say in the government systems. I have a say in my local systems. I have a say in what I do with humanity when I'm out in a collective. I have a say in how I spend my money. I have a say in am I going to be conscious or unconscious? I have a say. As soon as you start tuning into that, that's where things start to change. But this this unconscious rigmarole of like, oh, it's going to happen and it's doomsday. It's like, whatever. That's the whole point of trying to smack us in the face over and over and over and over again. Wake up.
Yeah.
Take action.
So going back to the conversation of timelines and the timeline that we're on, like people will say like we're on the worst timeline or I don't want to be on this timeline. And the question that we ask is like, well, what if we're actually on the highest timeline? What if we're actually on the best timeline? Because everything is being brought to the surface for us to recognize now, because now we get to say, oh, okay, this is what's been happening under the layers. Oh, okay, I want to change this. Like
the collective, here's the whole thing. If you're saying, I don't want to be on this timeline, this is the worst timeline, it doesn't feel good. You have to deal that you right off the bat. Whoever just said that, you're listening. You just said that. Here you go. Ready? I'm going to smack you across the face real quick. You have to deal with that your addiction to feeling good. That's what you have to deal with. You think and you feel entitled to life feeling good. No soul incarnated to feel good. Not one soul was like, I'm just going to incarnate to feel good. That is not how souls think. Souls' consciousness have zero judgment about what is good and what is bad. The universe has so y'all, you're like, the universe is doing to me. Universe, first of all, is doing fuck all to you. The universe is just matching your energy. Okay? So it's not doing anything to you. But the second that you're like, oh, the universe wants me. Nope. Universe doesn't want anything for you either. There's no judgment. Universe has no judgment. Your higher soul and consciousness has zero judgment. Your higher self and consciousness is like incarnated to be part of some amazing play. Your life is supposed to be fucking awesome. You're supposed to like have free will and, you know, put chocolate milk in your purse with a ginormous straw if you want and go walk around. That's like my favorite free will video I ever saw.
You'll never let that go. Oh my gosh.
It was so good. I was like, wait, what is she just put chocolate milk in a clear plastic purse and then she stuck a straw in it. She's just walking around life. I'm like, free will, hashtag. I mean, you want an amazing homework assignment? Fucking use your free will. Y'all want to know what I do with my free will? Any dude that dates me gets tested. Which means if a cool song comes on and we're in public, I make him dance with me because I feel like I should be living in what do they call those movies with music and shit? A musical?
Oh, like a romantic comedy?
Yeah, I should be living in a rom-com. If you're dating me, that's how that should go. And it's going to be part musical. So if there's music playing, we're going to dance. Because that's my free fucking will. And if a dude says no, he doesn't make it to the next round. He's not your dude. He's not my dude. He doesn't make it to the next round. Do you see what I mean? Free will, you're just not using it enough. Like, have pink hair, have blue hair, have like, you know, do the thing. Try on weird clothes. Like, go balls to the wall on something. Like, so my whole point is, there is this weird misconception in our experience that everything is supposed to be comfortable, that we're not supposed to experience the vast array of emotions and feelings and experiences. And look, y'all, I am not some Pollyanna motherfucker. I've had some of the worst shit ever happen to me in my whole life. In my 20s, I just slept with a knife under my pillow. That's how fucking traumatized I was at some point. Okay? So I'm not coming at it being like, I'm Pollyanna and no. I'm like, no, I've dealt with that shit though. And in the spectrum now, I can regulate my experiences and da-da-da. And now we're having a collective experience for the destruction of something and for the rise of something. And in order to have this something rise, the thing that we really want to have rise, we have to deal with all the background layers of energy. Reminds me of this one show I used to watch. There was The Good Wife, and then the second, so this was a while ago. It might have been before COVID. I actually don't remember. So there was The Good Wife, and then the next TV series that came out that was similar characters, kind of similar thing, was The Good Fight. It was a bunch of lawyers in Chicago. It was actually really cute. And they had one episode where one of the main characters started like microdosing, but then she couldn't tell. She's a lawyer. Then she couldn't tell what was real or not real. So she would like be watching TV and she like watch it. She was like, is that a pig dancing with a thing like as the commercial? Or is that like real life? Like what she couldn't see, right? And there was one episode where it was all about if Hillary Clinton would have become president and Trump would have never become president. And she was like, and she thought she woke up in the good place. She was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because that's what everybody wants, right? But this was a phenomenal episode because it pointed to that we would have never had the Me Too movement. We would have never outed Harvey Weinstein in the entire like Hollywood disaster. We would have never gotten behind all the Trump shit. So because we didn't upheaval any of that shit, like in the reality, she had like an assistant and they had hired like Harvey Weinstein became their client. And her assistant was like, I'm going to go meet with Mr. Weinstein. I'm supposed to like just go to his hotel room and like did it. She's like, don't go. And like, she's like, you're being insane. Like, stop being insane. Right. And so it was all these awarenesses that we had because of these things that we don't love that gives us new enlightenment, new awarenesses, new perspective that just had like never happened. But we all feel really good because the female president that we wanted to have president won. You know what I mean? And so I'm just like, that's literally like that episode is so key because that's literally what we're experiencing now. Oh, I wish Kamala would have won. We wouldn't be dealing with all this right now we are finding holes in democracy. We're unpacking every single 1% or billionaire who is backing other political leaders. We are finding out which political leaders are in cahoots with other political leaders, with other billionaires, like doing disgusting things. But like, would any of it have really come to light if somebody else was elected? I don't think so.
And I think one thing that I'm seeing right now, like personally and like for friends and family, is like an assessment and a restructuring of our values. So like, for example, what just happened with Disney. Disney fired Jimmy Kimmel, and it's like, oh, my value system doesn't want to support Disney anymore. I'm going to cancel my Hulu subscription. I'm going to cancel my Disney trips. Like, I think their stock plummeted by, what was it, 3 billion over the course of like 3 days?
3.7 to 3.8 billion, close to 4 billion. Now, all of them are estimates. Do you know what I mean? But like the number of people canceling literally everything that has to do with Disney, tanked big time. No, it wasn't just like Disney Plus and Hulu.
It was like trips and vacations and Disney Vacation Club and like all these different things. And so we get to more consciously put our money and our time with the things that align with our value system. So for all those people who, tanked Disney stock, they went, okay, Disney like doesn't believe in free speech. I am taking my money and my time out of Disney and I'm going to put it somewhere else that is more aligned with me, more aligned with my values, more aligned with what I believe in. And consciously putting our money towards, I mean, we saw it with Target too, like taking our money out of Target, putting our money towards small businesses, local businesses, other stores that believe in our value systems. Like that's what I've seen as well as in this restructuring as like unconscious things are showing up. Now we get to say, oh, okay, this is where I want to put my money. This is where I don't want to put my money and my energy.
Yeah, and people get to, like, I think like it is a realignment, a collective realignment, a collective introspection of values and a collective realignment. So you can go like, where do you stand? And like, what are you going to do about it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know people who are like, oh God, like fucking sucks and life sucks and da 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 da. And you're like, okay, did you cancel Disney? Oh no. Okay. That's the timeline you like. You give your money to somebody who takes somebody's free speech away and you like it. You know how I know you like it is because you're doing it. Well, I can't give up. Da, da, da. Okay, so you don't want to be uncomfortable. Go be comfortable and go be a wet noodle somewhere else. This timeline is asking you to step the fuck up. Like, I don't know how many ways we got to get smacked in the face to wake the fuck up. So we're all in the wake the fuck up timeline. I mean, that's just what we should call it from now on. So you got to be like, what are you doing to like stay awake? Like, stay woke, stay present, do your shit, clear your shit, spend your money consistent with what your values are. Like, that's the fucking timeline we're in. And if you're not playing, yeah, your life's gonna fucking suck, because that's what the collective is asking for. It's asking for us to speak out. It's asking for us to take care of our neighbor. It's asking for us to like stick up for like what is right. I mean, the fucking new moon, the equinox, we just moved into Libra. I'm sorry. We just left behind Virgo and now we're in Libra. Libra is all about fair and balanced and like scales of justice and like shit like that. Like, so what are you going to do? Don't sit around like a wet noodle. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I love it when you say wet noodle. I've never heard anybody else say that, but
such a good visual. Don't be a wet noodle.
Well, one thing that I'm aware of with the eclipse and the new moon that just happened on Sunday was a bringing up of the unconscious energy to either to bring it to the surface, be like, hey, this is what's been going on underneath, so that you either double down on the old shit or set a foundation for the new energy, the new life, the new field that you're stepping into. Like, would you say that that's accurate?
Yeah, 100%. And so it's like, I mean, if we were going to make an energetic prediction, right? So I think is it called Sterling? That's the company that owns ABC. So they're the ones that were like, Jimmy Kimmel's out. And that family has been very outwardly Republican for a very, very long time. Like, the patriarch has died, the grandfather, but left the company to all the sons and has been outwardly very much like with Republican values. Trump supporters, and they own somewhere around 23%, I think, of the airways, like of the broadcastings. And so they also, every time there's a chance to lobby, they lobby for monopoly kind of fucking laws where you're not supposed to have a monopoly. Like, that's what capitalism is all about. No monopolies. And they always lobby for more stronghold, more monopoly. And so they're, for ABC to say, we're going to put Jimmy Kimmel, the ABC Disney, they say, okay, we're going to put Jimmy Kimmel back on. That was our bad. And he gets to do one show. And then Sterling's like, no more. We are now going to have in that place whatever news they want. Whatever nighttime news they want. That's what they're going to put in. So this is turning into a dictatorship. So you just have to go like, okay, they feel like they can do whatever they want to an entire collective of United States American citizens. And we are going to then use our rights the way that we want to use our rights to fight back, whatever that looks like, whatever a new structure looks like. But old systems and old structures are going to die. So like, if I was going to make a prediction, I'm like, somehow that company's getting tanked. Somehow they're going to go down. This shit is just not like, we're just not sitting. There's some wet noodles out there, but the majority of us are not going to sit around for this bullshit. Like fuck you. You know, whether it's we all go to PBS, all of the comedians go over to PBS. Like, he's the second comedian to get let go, and
I think it was Stephen Colbert, but he's on like a contract for another years, a few months or years though.
just like, okay, all right. And mostly I'm just like, y'all just don't like funny.
You must not like to laugh.
You just don't like funny. Come on.
Yeah.
So I think some of that will collapse, but it's going to take the collective. You know, if everybody keeps wet noodling around, it's, you know, they'll keep doing what they do. If as a collective we hold strong to our values, then the shit goes down. That's just the way it goes.
So we're looking at like the question we opened up with was what do we sense is happening energetically? So we sense there's an upheaval of all the unconsciousness that's been around since, we'll say, like 2016 and longer. But
I mean, for the life of humanity, this is the first time we're really waking up. Yes, we've had we've had opportunities.
We've had opportunities.
Yeah, I love what you said about COVID. COVID was our first opportunity. That was the first opportunity to wake up. The first time Donald Trump got elected, that was another awakening opportunity. We didn't take it, so we have to go through the washing machine again. To go through the...
Well, I like what you describe being at the front of the line. Like right now, as a collective and individually, we're at the front of the line for change. And we can either choose to take our number or not take our number. If we don't take our number, we go back at the end of the line, and then we wait our turn, and we get to the front of the line eventually again. And we have to go through it all over again, whatever the experience or the situation is.
Yeah, 100%. So that's like, I've been using that analogy with clients forever, because people are like, I'm like, okay, so what kind of change do you want in your life? People are like, I mean, let's look at it as a collective. If I was coaching the collective, what kind of change do you want in your life? And they're like, I don't want Trump. Okay, well, what kind of president do you want? What kind of collective do you want? And maybe they tell you, and you go, okay, so we're at the front of the line right now. Our job is to speak up, speak out, use our votes, understand how democracy in our system works, like say no when we need to say no, say yes when we need to say yes, and stick up for other people. Like, that's really where we're at. That's our front of the line. If you do fuck all right now, you're gonna go back of the line. Now that's fine. You're gonna be fine. You won't like things, but you won't do anything really uncomfortable right now, right? You won't take new action. You won't take new experiences. You're not going to have new conversations. It's fine. You don't want to do that. You go to the back of the line. And then eventually you're going to be at the front of the line again. And maybe this time it's with your significant other, because your significant other is done being with a wet noodle, you know, and then you really got to step up. You know, your significant is like, look, when we dated, it was like this. Now you're being kind of a wet noodle and I got to go, you know? And so you're like, okay, well, who do you want to be in the world? You don't have, time doesn't exist. There is no other time but right now. You just get to choose how you're going to spend it. So either you're comfortable or you're going to take some fucking uncomfortable actions. And so we're all at the front of the line. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's not repeat another 4 years of the same shit. Well, okay, so recapping what's happening energetically, there's been a lot of unconscious shit being brought to the surface, really since we've been humans in humanity. Like all of the old patterns, all of the patriarchy, all of the like limitations and ways in which we've been experiencing. And being brought to the surface so we can see, okay, this is what we've been dealing with. This is what's been underneath. We can either choose to double down and be a wet noodle and do nothing, or we can choose to take action, get uncomfortable, and actually change some shit that's showing up.
Yeah.
And the opportunity now for us individually and as a collective is to get uncomfortable, to align in our values and what we want to experience and choose the things that we want to experience, rather than feeling like, okay, like it's just going to happen the way it's going to happen. I can't do anything about it. I guess that's the way it's going. Like,
yeah. That's exactly it. So if you keep on that one, that's just, we're going to keep floating down that same river. Look, you might feel okay because you're going to hide your head in the sand. But that's not what the energy is telling us right now. That is not what's happening. And so we are on this timeline. We are all actively on this timeline, and you're on your own personal timeline to activate something. I mean, I don't know. I think with the rapture too, maybe some people did get sucked up. Maybe we won't see them. Maybe the timeline completely readjusts and we don't even remember that they were here. Maybe that's possible. Maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like, we remember Grandpa having a different tattoo. So, like,
I was just thinking about that.
Maybe we have a different Mandela effect, you know? Like,
yeah. We were arguing earlier this week because I remember Grandpa having a red robin on his chest, and you remember ducks from the Everglades scenery.
Look, I am older. I am wiser. Red robin never happened, at least not in my timeline. Okay? Like, I will say, not in the same timeline. So we just had some realization somewhere the timeline shifted because, like, Grandpa had like 4 ducks coming out of an Everglade plastered on his fucking chest. And I know because that was like my whole growing up around a pool with that guy. And I was like, what in the holy... I'm the only one with the grandpa with ducks on his chest. What?
Yeah,
I'm sure I have photos. I'm going to pull them out.
Pull them out. I'd love to see them.
What if I pull them out and it's a robin?
That would be so funny. Oh my gosh, I would love that. We'll have to post pictures somehow for the listeners. Like, here's our grandpa's chest. This is who was right. I don't know. Either way, I think we were on separate timelines, and at one point we merged, and then who really
that
knows?
Tracks. That tracks better.
Anyway,
18 years apart.
Anyway, so we have what's happening energetically.
Yes.
How to change it, and I'm curious, like, what do you sense is needed individually at this point in time, like individually and as a collective, like in order to, I should say, like, shift this as quickly as possible? How quickly do you sense it will take? Do you sense it'll be like months or years, or do you have any idea of how long it may take?
I mean, I think we're going through like a real intense time for the next, I would say, 3 months. I think it's real intense for the next 3 months. How long we stay there is like collective choice. In our timeline, collective choice. So if it's like, well, what do I do? Sit down and evaluate your values. What are your priorities? Like, what do you want your life to look like? If you need support with that, I don't work anymore. Ronnie does.
It's true. You're retired.
But like, you go, what are my values? You know, like, you were here this week. I sat down with my kiddo. She was with her dad. When she was with her dad, I said, talk to her about Disney. She came to my house and she looked me straight in the face. She's like, we're not getting rid of Disney, Mom. I was like, you're going to sit down. We're going to have a conversation. I was like, what do you value? We're going to talk about, she's 9, by the way, y'all. My daughter's 9. And I'm like, what do you value? Mom, I can't give up my shows. I'm like, we're going to chat this through, and I'm having this conversation, and it's going to stick. I'm having the conversation as long as I need to with my kiddo, and it's going to stick so she gets what her fucking values are. That's how fierce I am about this shit, okay? So you got to get what your values are, you know, like, about everything. I have values around my consumerism, right? We just said, like, we are number 1, and you have to add up 5 other large countries to match our consumerism. So I have values consistent with, like, not being an unconscious consumer. I take actions consistent with that, and I live my life consistent with that. And how do I function and operate consistent with that? Okay. So you like do the deeper work. Like, what is it? There's also this, like, I think they call it shadow work. I don't call it shadow work. But shadow work might be what we're saying. What are your patterns at play that keep you from accessing the next level of consciousness, that keep you stuck in same shit, different day, that keep you creating a reality that you don't like? If you're creating if you don't like your reality, That's on you. That's not anybody else. That's on you, because you're the creator of the reality. So you want to change that. You have to get hip to like, what are my patterns? And that goes hand in hand with your values and your belief systems. And the more that, like, this is the time to become facile in that. We do that in our work and the whole external reality changes. That's how it, the micro always matches the macro, always.
And I sense this is where we get into alignment. So the more you can be fully aligned, your thoughts, feelings, actions, core beliefs, values, experiences, have that fully aligned in what you actually want and desire, rather than being at the effect of, or rather than feeling like you can't do anything about it, rather than feeling like I just don't like this thing in my life and I don't know what to do, or I can't do anything about it, or I don't know, like getting stuck in confusion, or I don't know, or I can't do.
Well, like, this is the wild part, okay? If we look at everybody's incarnation, you were in, let's say, consciousness, a soul, access to all time dimension reality. You incarnate in a body to have a 3D experience. But that's like all powerful, connected to all time, space, dimension reality. It's all powerful. You incarnate here and all of a sudden you're like, I can't. That's like a weird, wild concept, honestly. Something going on with my hair. That's wild, because that is like infinite. So we talk about you being like infinite, all knowing, all capacity, all whatever. And you get in here, you're like, oh, I can't really do anything about that. That's fine. You're just playing, you're creating a play where you're at the effect of everything and you're a victim to everything, and you're going to keep doing that. But like, if there was ever an activation of people accessing higher consciousness, it is like now. It is, and we fast forward a month from now, I'd be like, it's even higher now, like hop on the train when you can.
And I want to say, like, if you do feel like you're in that boat where it's like, well, I don't feel like I know what to do, I feel like I'm stuck, or I'm at the effect of, or I don't like this thing, like, it's not your fault. It's the way we've been trained as humans. Yes. Like, you're not wrong. You're not bad. You're not doing something wrong. Like, it's literally just the way we've been trained to be small and play small and like get stuck in this hustle culture, patriarchal culture. It's what we've been indoctrinated into. So it's not your fault by any means.
Every single person, man, woman, ethnicity, like everybody has turned into like a slave to the system. And so it's the system's fault for training every person that they aren't wise enough, strong enough, good enough, whatever your knots are, not this, not that, not whatever, to train you so that, then they can control and manipulate you. And you're like, okay. But the second you start to wake up and you're like, I'm creating my reality. I can say how this goes. This could go another way, that I could like put something into thought and it could manifest and happen. That sounds rad. Yeah.
Yeah. So the practice is what it sounds like, is being able to access more of that consciousness, being able to access more of that infinite being, infinite self, so that you can bypass those limitations and stop experiencing the thing of like, I don't know how, or I can't, or like playing a small game. Like, that's what's being asked of all of us right now.
Yeah, I would also, it's funny. I mean, I know people need a process, but it can just be like, you're so powerful and you believe you're so powerful, and you believe that to be so true that you function, operate, and embody that energy, which is what I do, right? So like, if I'm on a plane and there's turbulence, I'm like, oh, let me fix the turbulence real quick. The baby's crying. I'm like, oh, let me heal the baby crying at this moment. So I'm like, there's nothing out of my control. If I'm at a friend's wedding, I'm like, and it's supposed to rain, I'm like, not during wedding time. And I will change the weather for the wedding. I'm only committed to changing it for the wedding, though. So it's going to rain before it comes. That's like how that goes. They're like, this is so magical. I'm like, yeah, so magical. Like, it's not about me, right?
Yeah.
my point is everybody has that access. The way that I would also describe this is like, I was telling this to somebody the other day, and I was like, look, your meditation has never been about you meditate and then you leave that space and now you go into 3D limited reality. Your meditation space is about taking your meditation with you. Take that frequency with you. Take that clarity and connectedness with you. That's the whole point of meditation. So it's not even like I have to meditate now while I'm driving my car. You just took it with you throughout the day. So it's with you while you're meditating at work, talking to coworkers, dealing with your kiddo, having an upset, whatever. You're always taking it with you. That was the whole point of meditation, right? So it's similar. That higher frequency, that expanded consciousness is just who you are. You just take it with you.
Mm-hmm. And when you say you're taking your meditation with you, do you mean like that presence and that connected to your higher self, connected to your soul, like that level of inwardness and connection? Is that what you're talking about?
100%. Because when you're meditating, you're like, wow, I'm connected to everything. I'm so happy. I'm so peaceful. That's your natural state. You get into the chaos and the play, and you believe this 3D play too much. And you believe that you're limited too much. And then you like give in. And you're like, no. Hold the meditation. Hold that space. Live in that.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like as a first step for like getting out of this, I don't know how, and I feel stuck, and I feel like at the effect of what's happening, like I can't do anything about it. Like the first step to really getting out of that is meditation. Like having a meditation.
That's so weird.
So weird. We say that like every week, meditation, first step. But to be able to have a meditation practice, to be able to keep that with you throughout the day, to keep the presence and the calm and the stillness and the connectedness to your higher self. And so if you don't have a meditation practice already, we have a free training series. I'll put the link in the description so you can find that. 20 days of meditation. So being able to build that so that you can then access that infinite self, higher self, and be able to ask throughout your day, like, am I operating from my infinite self, or am I operating from my, let's say, human self?
Yeah.
Human limitation.
Yeah. And strengthening that muscle, right? I mean, that's what we do with our clients on a deeper level. Clearing out whatever the negative belief systems are. Doing the quote unquote shadow work, allowing yourself to live in that, and all that inner work will shift the outer.
Absolutely.
And you have to be and don't be a wet noodle.
So here's the biggest question. If all of us start doing this work, if all of us start, meditating, doing our shadow work, doing our inner work, can we change the reality?
1000%. That's the whole point. They have this theory. It's called the 100 monkeys. Have you heard this one?
I have, but tell me again.
We'll tell them for a little source. So they had a group of monkeys in one part of the world, and they trained them in something. It was 100 monkeys. And it had shifted the consciousness of the rest of the monkeys on the other side of the world just based off of that 100 monkeys. I don't remember what the fuck test they were doing. This is why I'm like, I love science, but I can't quote all the scientific studies each time I fucking learn something. But it's the 100 monkey theory. So shifting the consciousness, or having those 100 monkeys like go in and change their behavior, change their patterns, change their consciousness, actually affected the rest of the monkeys. I think they call that like I'm going to swing out on a limb. I don't know if this one's right. Butterfly effect? Like butterfly over there, shift something over there. I don't know.
Different. Butterfly effect is different.
Right. Don't quote me on that, y'all. Okay. So, but that essentially is because what you're dealing with is you're dealing with the frequency, like a person's frequency, a vibrational frequency. You're dealing with, are you in fear or are you in love? Are you creating the reality? Everybody's creating a positive reality. Okay. The reality has to change. You get enough people to do that, and it just does. It just does. They also have theories on, I think it was like 3% if you get 3% of a population to do the same thing or to shift, like to rebel and to shift and to protest, it topples the government. Sometimes it's immediate and sometimes it's a little bit prolonged. But we've also had the 3% inside of our No Kings protest days and different things. So the more that we do the inner work and we align our values and we take the actions in reality, the more all that will change.
Well, Tamara, I appreciate your expertise on energy. Like throughout this episode, I think we've covered what we're creating right now energetically, all of the unconscious energy that's being brought up so that we can look at it, so that we can change it. And ultimately, when we do this inner work, you can call it shadow work or something else. Ultimately, when we align in our values and our value systems and our highest power, infinite self, infinite being, whatever you want to call it, the more that we align in that in our value systems all over the place, the more that the reality actually changes in real time, and the more that the collective timeline can shift as well. So with all of that, is there anything else you would give our listeners before we close out the episode for today?
I mean, don't be a wet noodle. Like,
if you heard anything else, don't be a wet noodle.
That's the name of this episode. Don't be a wet noodle. They're like, what are you talking about? Timeline shifts, but really this is about don't make good choices. Don't be a wet noodle. Don't make being a wet noodle one of them. Don't be a wet noodle. Know that you're creating your own reality, whether you like it or not. And like it's Rosh Hashanah. Find your chutzpah, as the good Jew would say. Find your chutzpah. Like stand for something. I literally talked to my daughter about like, look, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. So like stand for something, take a stand. And that's like, what are my values? And like, how am I living my life? And like, be bold about it. There's never been a better time than now. So like, just do it now.
Yeah. We're at the front of the line. Do it now or in 4 years from now, I guess, but hopefully not 4 years from now.
Don't be a wet noodle. Do it now. There's never been a better time.
Amazing.
There's never been a better time to not be a wet noodle.
That's the one. That's the one we need a t-shirt for. All right. Well, with that, we will close out the episode for today. Listeners, thanks for being on with us. If you have any questions, email me, Ronnie at thebeyondhumanmethod.com, and keep making magic, y'all.